Hello everyone, welcome to Damru Talks. This is your host Rishi Matalia, and today's topic is Egyptian mythology and nakshatras. So, without any delay, we can start.
In Egyptian culture, actually, if you look at it, like nobody, the translations of those have been done in such a horrible way that Egyptian have been shown with as if they were totally devilish culture and all that stuff, right? But it's not at all. Not at all. It is like their afterlife means rebirth. They never thought that afterlife means something else. They knew that they are going to come back. Now, this is how I will show you how it is connected. So, Ashwini, Shukracharya, semen, right? So, over here, if you look at the male reproductive system, this is how it looks. Okay, this is how a horse face, many of the horse face, if you look, it will look like this. For some reason, I don't know. I have a horse living nearby my house, and two of them have face exactly like this. Means there is some connection. Now, if you look at over here, right? Over here is Ankh. Now, many of them, the key of life, they have associated with different nakshatra, but it actually goes with what I feel it goes with is Aries, not just nakshatra, the whole house, Aries. How? If you look at this, right? The Ankh mirror case from Tutankhamun's tomb. You see over here in the middle, there is a scarab. Scarab is what? Scarab is actually basically, if you have seen the Mummy Returns, the movie, the Mummy, you will know. So scarab is something that I will associate with sperms. Why? How? We will go forward and see. Okay, so it is lying over here. It is sitting on top of over here. Okay, and this is where what all these kind of things comes in the male reproductive system, and they hold it in their hands, the Egyptian gods. So this, and what it says, it represents power to sustain life, revive human souls in afterlife and rebirth. How it is different, Scarab is connected to is God. Now Scarab is actually connected to God Khepri. Now who is God Khepri? We will go in the next. But this Scarab is actually the sperms which comes from the two sides, the two testes, right? And then from here it gets released. So that is what actually, when it gets released, what does it create? It creates a human who has what? Seven chakras. Now, it is somewhat different. So this is what the scarab looks like. And if you have seen this movie called The Mummy, right, in that they kind of they show one scarab and then somehow out of it like tons of scarabs that's generated. It just like kinds of bursts open. So that is somewhat you can say that that is what is the ejaculation in a way, right? And there is one another god who is basically wielding a scepter with a, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it is Jade and Ankh. Now, Jade is what? Jade is an Egyptian symbol meaning stability, symbolic backbone of god Osiris. Now, for any creation, whatsoever it might be, right, to even initiate and to start, you need a stability. So, without a stable erection, there is no ejaculation. So, there is no scarab in a sense, right? And then what is it associated thing is? It is associated with Osiris. Now here is the photo of Osiris from Wikipedia. It looks like a sperm. Now who was Osiris? So Osiris was the judgment of dead and underworld and the agency that granted all life. In Bharni Nakshatra is associated with Yama, who grants life. So the Osiris and is like god of fertility, agriculture, afterlife, the death, the resurrection, and vegetation. Right? So without his blessings, in a way, there is no life, because Yama, in a way, needs to grant it. So Bharni, in a way, is associated. So they also had this whole understanding of all these things, but their way of documenting was a little bit different than ours. And see, Benjed is a Egyptian ram god. Now, without the act of ramming, there is no act that will facilitate this ejaculation without the ramming god. So this is so they were so much focused in science. That is the beauty, means because the creation is science. It's not about, people have to come out of it. Creation is all about science, because till you don't understand that, you won't understand any of the creations or manifestations that you are doing. So over here also, if you see in this, there is this Ankh over here. So the Khepri. So the interesting thing about this god Khepri, which we actually talked about over here, is the Scarab god. He's called Scarab, which we directly associate with the sperm. Is this? He represents rising or morning sun. Now, Ashwin Kumars come with their sister Usha, golden light of dawn or twilight. And he is also holding this Ankh. So they also had a wonderful understanding. I think this whole culture needs to be looked in with a very different eye. Now, what is the great deal about this Karab? Let's look into that. So this is a very classic image of this. It's a dung beetle basically, and they are taking this dung. So dung, as we know, is also associated in India when we use dung for all the rituals and all that, right? So the way they actually operate these dung beetles is amazing. They use sun as a reference point. Why? Because they want to directly get into the burrows and they don't want to get attacked, and they want to live more. So what about the full nighttime navigation? They use moon to navigate. If moon is not there, Amavasya is, they will navigate. Without these three, if you put them, they will be like a drunkard. So you can put a vessel on top of them, and then they will really don't understand where the hell they are going. So now try to take it in a way of understanding of ours, right? Now we don't want to understand these energies of moon, sun, or the Milky Way or the constellations, and we want to drive this life like drunkards because we don't want to accept this science. So we are basically, we are even worse than these dung beetles in a way. because that they will only work like that if you deprive them of these three, and we will be depriving them. Over here we are doing it by our choice. So this is all the whole constellation, and all that is all the navigation. You can do it for every point in your life. This is the great thing about these dung beetles. Now, over here, Sarvabhanu was a teacher of Asuras, god of planet Venus. Right? So, if you look at this Venus, Shukracharya, Sarvabhanu, dung beetles associated with sperms, it all fits together. And that how it happens with the Rahu Ketu. When we get birth, we get Rahu Ketu as the two things. And that's why we basically are chasing ourselves in a circular fashion. We are not even chasing ourselves in a spiral fashion. So we are not even willing to evolve. We are just doing it in this. What we need is a nudge. That's why when many of these yogis, when they refer to Ashwini Nakshatra, or when you see in Rig Veda or anything, they say that okay, Krishna, he basically he nudged the Ashwini Nakshatra out of existence. Okay, so that is what is the basic understanding has to go over there. That if you understand these technologies, these sciences of the cosmic, then you will know how to use those not Ashwini, sorry, Abhijit Nakshatra energies. So Abhijit Nakshatra was the one that was kicked out, right? So Abhijit Nakshatra, so that is eternal nakshatra. That is why it is even associated with the northern star. So how important is this dung beetle? Let's see. So this is the sign in South Africa where they caution dung beetles have the right of way. In India, we have forgotten the culture of right of way for the cows to live, right of life to the bulls. We are one of the biggest beef exporters, where we export basically the unwanted animals are slaughtered. So the dung beetle. So there is one other interesting story that you can read on Wikipedia about the dung beetle and dive deep into. Is that it is associated with one of the stories where the story is about the imaginary horses, imaginary kingdom, and the king's horses, stable of king's horses. So I find it very interesting that somehow people are getting these energies and writing these fictional stories somehow based off these energies and connecting it. So that we normally find it way higher. Try to research artists. They are direct translation of energies, I would say. So the image of Scarab, if you look at it once again, now it is the three into three sections, one, two, three. Creation. And the fourth is it's basically the mouth or the head. So the manifestation happens the fourth fold. So another thing that great thing for example using cow dung for insulation as it helps, right? So these are certain things that people need to really understand that uh, we should stop hating these technologies, because look at it, what American Institute of Biological Science, The dung beetle saves United States cattle industry $380 million through burying above ground livestock feces. So this is the natural way of doing things, and that's what our ancestors used to do while making even villages, while doing the constructions and of the villages. If you have been to a village, go to a what we call a jhupadpatti, or what we call this village house. Go inside it. It is way cooler than outside, even in summer. So these are the ways they are already using it. Now it's up to the Indian youth whether they want to really buy it into already existing uh, repository of knowledge that we have on these technologies. Egyptians also have these. So anybody from other, let's say other cultures, they will find over here. By the way, Mayan culture also has its own. It's also linked. I am also actually working on that somewhat. So this is how much importance is there of dung beetle. So why shouldn't there be importance of cow dung? And why shouldn't there be importance of all these things, right? Because even in some of these what we say is that vaccines, they use pork. So whether you use pork or you use urine of cow for certain thing, or you use urine of horse, which is used in some of the medicines, actually, you can go and look into the patents written by American scientists. uh, it is there. So we should stop doing that, and we should start looking into these, because these are the ways to go. Because why? Because they are, even they will be funded by the government. So Ashwini plus Bharni, there are like these two different symbols. So in a way, Jade, if you look at it, right, associated with male reproductive organ, and tight, the female reproductive organ, is called the knot of Isis. So when we get married, if we tie a knot, right? So this is very interesting. So we tie a knot and associated with goddess Isis. So who is goddess Isis? So she is believed to help the dead enter the afterlife. So what does a female do actually, or a mother do? She helps a new life come into this world, from a different realm into this realm, into what we call the reality or of our existence. And she is characterized as a moon goddess, right? So for the life, what came first? The moon came first, right? So the Isis is often characterized as a moon goddess. So the moon comes first for the uh, life from the different realm to enter this realm. And she has been elaborated as a wife also. You can look into the Osiris myths. She is the inventor of marriage and parenthood. She invoked to protect women in childbirth. She was invoked to protect women in childbirth. Now, something that is needs to be associated with Kritika Nakshatra also. Protect women in childbirth, right? So the Kritika, if you look at it, the Kritika Nakshatra is actually associated with Kritika Gana, which is said to be in a form of means Durga in a sense. And if you go if a child is born, or if a child is getting, what you say, is incubated in the mother's womb, at that time, mother is very protective. You cannot go near her. in a normal way. You have to be very, very uh, calm and understanding, and she will only let you touch the kid if she is comfortable with. Otherwise, she will not. Even the husband might not be able to touch the child if the husband is like that, because the father might not be protective, but it is always seen the mother is always protective. So that is also associated with the Kritika Gana or Kritika Nakshatra or Isis. It's one and the same thing. It's wonderful to see that all these civilizations were actually having some common understanding, that which we are missing in today's world because of our beliefs rather than investing in the real understanding of these energies. So I think that's what I have till now. I know this time it has not been much organized than last time, so forgive me for that. So let me know if you have any questions. And Smita ji is saying, I think it has two wings that cover abdomen of the beetle, and other two part would be head and the thorax. Yes, and see now it has even the two wings, right? So to fly, the Mrikshra Nakshatra, we humans fly in a different way. Our flying is done by our imaginations. Okay, I think yeah, I'm done.
This is fantastic, Rishiji. I mean, especially the Egyptian part. This was fascinating, how the correlations are happening. There are a couple of questions from Smita ji, so I will read it out. She wants me to ask you. One is there any literature on symbology?
So symbology, the literature, there is literature in the sense. I think I have one old book which I can share with people. I think so. In that you will see with there is a different way of looking into it with different uh, civilizations. It is different, but with Indian civilizations, you will need to understand mudras also. So you will need to understand two different books in a way. So the mudra also and the way to read this, because I think these numbers also how they relate to each other. Uh, lot of these things have been kind of in a recursive way they have written it so that the even if lot of stuff is lost you will be able to fill it up. So in this like we have in database, right, that RAID systems where you lose a server but still you are able to reproduce these kind of things. So you will have to look into multiple books. I can share few of them, but as in symbologies, one another YouTube channel that I found helpful was this guy called Praveen Mohan, which I think majority of you might be knowing him. So great thing is that even if you don't want to listen him, but at least you get access to the places where you go where he goes, and you can get to see those. Now in terms of iconography, a lot of this iconography has to be understood in a very different way, because Jain way of understanding things is very different, and I think that is one of the best ways to understand it in today's world, because it kinds of takes out the in a way what you have is the biases, because the Jain way of looking into things goes into multifolds. Might be one day we can do something like that. So in that, what they say is that you have to look at the time also, and the morals and things of those times. You cannot stick to the morals of these times and look at those in those fashions. So, but that is also a very huge actually chapter. But I will share you some of these already ready books from some of the British authors also. But I will tell you one thing is that you will only find physicalities into those authors. You won't really understand the spiritual aspects. But I think you being in these fields already, you should be able to derive it.
Cool. That will be helpful. Yeah, that's great. Another question she had was on regarding Ganapati is, do we worship the Ganapati that is related with our moon, or can we worship any of the Ganapatis as we please?
So, see, the way I would now, after going through this and thinking it, I will just thinking it out loud, right? Let me do one thing. Um, I was thinking in one of these things is to do a flow of karma, because that will actually make you understand that how these Ganpatis actually affect. Because this flow of karma is again dependent upon the shaktis that comes from the nakshatras, right? So till you don't really get this flow of karma, it will be difficult. So for that also, what we can do is we can do a duality reading of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. A duality reading. Okay, I am neither against him, I am neither with him. But the the logic, what it dictates is that if it is Gan Padhati, then we should do of the first for the Ganatantra of Bharat, it should be the basically it should go to the honor should go to Jawaharlal Nehru, because I think that person is very misunderstood from all the people, from left, from right, from east, from west, whichever you want to call, right? Because when a person takes birth in this world, it's about more about them actually, for that particular person. So I think so he has to be looked in a dualistic manner. So once you understand the dualistic manner, then only you will be able to understand how the Ganpati actually, what I am saying over here, uh, comes into play. Because see, if you want to win, let's say, if you have a Rohini nakshatra, right? Now, some of the things for the sake of science, I will just share it. I have seen people who have Rohini nakshatra, right? They have varicose veins. Now, one of the association is with banyan tree. How did Krishna suffer through all of his life? He means in the end when the arrow hit, his basically leg kept on leaking blood till he died. That is what in a way happens with varicose veins. So iconographies, in a way, you have to consider these things, not things. Like in US, we call these as woods, but these are trees, living things. Even earth is living, as I said before, right? So if you actually change your mindset into those, you will be able to get it. These. And I think even the hands have, all the hands have a say in this, because 16th from it is, see, the Mula Nakshatra. And if you do the 16th in the reverse fashion, so 4, 3, 2, 1, it goes to Radha, Anuradha. So you have to look into multiple different aspects, and some of those you will see reflecting in another basically what you say is civilizations. So I was even surprised with this one, Deer Woman from Native American tribes. Then, if you have seen one of the videos of Native American tribes, this what we nowadays call Devil's Tower in US is actually, as per them, is associated with the story of the Shaptarishis, Bear and the Seven Kids or something like that. Is that? So you will have to actually go through these now, as we have the understanding of nakshatras and somewhat of these shaktis and all that. Bring stories from any different civilizations. We'll try to see how we can fit them and try to learn the understanding. One of the stories I will tell you from Aztec is about twins. Okay, the twins did some mischief and the person caught them. I don't remember exact character name, so I will just give you the brief of that thing. So the twins, they did the mischief, and the person whom they did the mischief to caught them and they tied them to the pole. And then those twins developed, basically they turned into stone. Now in today's life, if you see, there is a movie called Fantastic Four. In that, there is this one guy who's called the stone guy, right? Now another way of looking that into is skin disease. Once you get actually this what we call warts, skin warts. Have you guys seen skin warts? So so skin warts. So if you look at this is a skin wart, right? Or the corns, they are like stones, right? Now that story actually, what I feel is it connects to Ashwini Nakshatra. How I will tell you one thing is directly from my own suffering. Let me tell you that. What happened is that I got a car, Mustang, and I used for a few days. And then I said, you know what, my wife, I said, you take it. And she started using that Mustang. And then what started happening is I suddenly started developing skin warts. And that is in a way first indication of having some mental disturbance in your life. And it was very interesting to find that story in Aztec culture about that story. So these mischief stories and all that stuff you might find, and there are tons of these Aztec stories that are there, but they are written in a devilish fashions in a way. So that's why these cultures have been kind of associated with devils or this thing, because they have written in a very, very, very rude or non-cosmetic way, rather, I would say.
It kind of reminds me one of the serials, like a TV serial. It used to come on Doordarshan back in the days, in late 80s, early 90s, of a guy called Stone Boy, if some of us remember the story. So this guy was in the village, and was like a shepherd or something. And one day he saw all these riches. One day he saw this celestial music or very nice music coming from some place, and he was attracted to that place. He kept going, and he saw all this magnificent music coming and all the riches. And they were like some godly beings. They said, okay, we'll give you all the prosperity, but if you disclose the secret, we'll turn you into a stone. And this guy comes back to his family, and he gets cows and other riches, and his family keeps prospering. And then the villagers get very suspicious how a normal shepherd is getting so rich. And he was forced to disclose the secret, and then he turns it into a stone. And they had given him a boon that if someone really asks for you, you will come alive for 3 days, but then you'll have to go back and become a stone again, otherwise you will die. So for 40 years he becomes a stone, comes back for 3 days, has a normal life, then again has to go back and be a stone for 40 years or something like that. So I don't know if that story has some inspiration from these things, but um, looks like there are a couple of places where these, like Ahalya in Ramayana, she was turned into a stone. here we are seeing one story. So interesting.
Yes. See, if you think about it once again now, going back to the stone thing, and we know the Midas story, right? The Midas, the golden touch story, right? So in a way, you
Hmm.
use something very powerful which you really don't understand. So when once that
So true.
happens,
So I think Smita ji has another question. Yeah, go ahead, Rishi ji.
oh no, I was not saying anything. Yes, she had another question.
Okay. So she had another question regarding that Watts thing you were mentioning, I guess. That does it apply to moles also?
Moles. Moles. I actually just 1 second. I totally. Moles are those dots that come on the skin.
I guess that black ones
Are those black
on
ones
the
that
skin,
come?
maybe.
See, anything related to skin
I think so.
basically, in a way,
Probably.
reflects that you have an issue with your mental health, I would say. And frankly, in that case, you should look into your fourth father because mental issues can only happen if you are not self-reflecting. That is what I have seen normally manifesting, and that you can pretty well see in Jawaharlal Nehru's case. It is unbelievably. And just to give you just if anybody wants to just check it out, he
But isn't Rishi ji, moles are more like by. Go ahead.
yeah, some are by birth,
Hmm.
some are by birth, but if you are having too
Because
many,
I haven't seen someone developing like moles in their lifetime. Mostly I've seen it's like by birth, and sometimes it disappear over a period of time. Warts, you are right. Generally, I've seen which develop over time. I don't know. I'm completely correct here.
So moles also do develop over time,
Okay,
and in fact they are often considered as an indication towards things like cancer, or like they're not considered good if you develop sudden moles and they're big and stuff. They do indicate towards some nervous concern,
I see.
and probably that's why he's saying that it's and that it's a skin related issue, can be in relation with mental diseases. Also maybe because skin is related with mercury, which in turn is related with nerves, so it has to do, so a lot of nervous tension etc anyways will create mental concern. Maybe it's related that ways as well.
so Nehaji, see, that's why see this Ganpati has a Shakti Ganpati, right? So you will get the Shakti. It doesn't matter whether you are ready or not, you are going to bound to get Shakti. So if you are not ready to receive that Shakti, that many times can develop into cancer. Means I have literally seen people just within like 15-20 days going away because you are if such a immense amount of Shakti which you deserved for whatever reason, can be positive or negative. Even in positive case, let me tell you one thing is that if you get some let's say you have a boon, right, but you are not perceptive to it at all, and you don't know about it, or you cannot realize that you have this boon, then it actually acts like a curse. So that is what see it's a transformation, it is a warning, dear woman, and Native Americans also. So this is basically Shakti Ganpati. You will get Shakti from any reason that might be somewhat, that is what we can figure out with the Kundalis. But if the fifth one is somewhat active, then that is where what the things happened, right? And actually, it is very interesting to see on 20th January when US actually got this. Uh, they got the new president, and when this ceremony was going on, their Saturn was in Uttarashada, fourth pada. And frankly speaking, doesn't everybody of us think that they need to self-reflect on their karmas in the sense, even currently going on, right? So all and they also have this Rahu in Mrikshra, first pada. So in a way representing somebody who is in the past. So in a way, you see all these things. This is the depiction. What I think. See, the Ganpati is showing how to basically use these energies properly, and that's why the whole importance of Kritika Gana comes into play. If you want to create, where did that go? Yeah. If you want to create, then you better be like a Kritika Gana who can swallow Shukracharya and then basically release it only when the creation is ready. So all these Shaktis, if you do not process properly, right, these things are bound to happen. I'm telling you, means one of the first is skin. Nothing more than that. Skin is the first. And hearing things. Now, hearing things, what does that mean? People get very much confused and people are very much afraid to come out if they are hearing things. But what does that thing mean by hearing things? Hearing things does not really mean that you are hearing something else. You are hearing as everybody else only, but you are hearing, interpreting something else. And on top of it, you are many times, yes, you are hearing something else. You are hearing something else in the sense that your way of symphonizing is way different than other people. And that actually is kind of the Damru or the Danka that Shiv in Ardhara Nakshatra, you see a lot of people who commit suicide, right? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, I think that was brought up in our Ardhra class.
Right. So there is one whole thing about it that people need to understand. The Ganpati associated with him is what? The Ganpati associated with him is actually the, let me open it. Dvija Ganpati, twice born. So that is why it happens. You either you either feel that you have to take so you basically feel that you have to take a rebirth because you are basically struggling with your fourth pada. And that is resulting in a horrible manifestation. And when the horrible manifestation happens, your past gets corrupted with the memories of the present. So that is what it is. And many times, another thing that you will see is these things will not get reflected. Many times might not be reflecting in the person's chart in direct way. But if you see their, let's say, if their fathers or their mothers or their siblings. And if even if they have Ardra, let's say if for a sibling, if the Ardra is in the third house, that is related with siblings, right? So in that case, you have to even see there might be that person is not into spirituality or might not need it, but might be he needs in something different, but related to that. But spirituality wise, the requirement is more for the brother or the sister or the father or the mother. So more interesting if you will do it with, if you can get your basically if they can have, you can get multiple of these kundlis together, you will be able to actually perform way better in making people understand what's going on. Because what I feel is that you need to make them understand how these shaktis are impacting you. Because you are bound, let's say if you are bound to, if you are in Kritika, you are bound to get Kritika energy. There is nothing you can do. You are bound to use sharp objects. But if you are brainy, why not go into medicine? Why not go into electronics? So those kind of things are there. That's what I feel. Nothing more than that. It's that's why many times I see people who have horrible planets, but they performed amazingly well. What you cannot get rid of are the physicalities of life. So for that, the very amazing example is Swami Paramhansa. He had a throat cancer, right? So he had a very horrible second house in a way, but he lived amazing life till the end. But and suddenly he got a small infection of the throat, and that developed into throat cancer. And then he died within a what I think within a month or something like that. But means certain things you cannot, certain things you can take care of. So like for him, you cannot say that he was in a spiritual turmoil or anything, but he had certain kind of karmas that he had to pay for in this life. You check out his Kundli especially. Very interesting.
Cool. This is all very fascinating, especially like the Egyptian part and the Garna Paddhati part. So thank you, Rishiji. Thanks a lot. Anyone has any more questions, comments?
The Smitaji is saying that there are similar stories in Arabian Nights. We'll have to
Oh,
check
okay. I
it
think
out. Yeah.
I missed that. Okay. Yeah. Smita ji has lots of information, lots of interesting.
So might be Smitaji actually, if any